Hi guys, welcome to Multiverse. We're going to continue our little event. So basically this is part 3. Again, ideally we're going to be live streaming all day. Ideally if we're lucky, this should be the last stretch. If not, we'll probably play a bit later tonight also. The idea is quite simple. It was to do a live broadcast pretty much all day. Somewhat to make up for the fact that there was no live broadcast for the past couple of days. And also, the idea was to take our friend FireStorm, take him from, start him at level 1, and get him to level 30 within a single day. So if we're lucky, by the time we reach the 3-hour mark, our friend FireStorm should be level 30. If not, hi, son Yuma. So if we're lucky, our friend will be level 30 soon. If not, we'll play a bit later tonight to do that. So we were up to playing the mission where we go fight the evil Poison Ivy. So let's do so. Again, this is just going up from level 1 to level 30. No power leveling, nothing like that. Just playing missions, getting XPs from doing those missions, and that's pretty much it. Hello, Phantom Ninja. I'm on PS4 right now. So let's talk to our friend Harvey Bullock. It's a bit weird nowadays when we think of Harvey, we think of the version from the Gotham TV series. Hello, Dr. Game Legend. So I hope you had a good birthday. So we're just continuing with our friend FireStorm. As you can see, we reached level 24, so it took us about 6 hours of gameplay to reach level 24. If we're lucky, 3 more hours and we'll be level 30. If not, well, we'll spend a little more than 3 more hours. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. I guess after that we're going to have a way to be able to compare between our Firestorm friend and a character like the Red Hood. Basically, with the Red Hood, I purchased the LexCore starter pack, so we could compare the how long it took us to go up to level 30 with our Firestorm friend, and how long it'll take us to it took us with the Red Hood, and it's going to give us an idea of how faster it is with the XP the LexCore starter pack. I don't think I knew it before other players. Maybe I knew it before a few players. But basically, when I announced the holiday event, I had seen a post by Meps on the forums, and also I'm subscribed to the DCUO newsletter or something like that. So basically, I receive an email when there's an upcoming event or any sort of updates like that. But basically, I just I receive emails from this Universe Online because I'm subscribed to their email promotion, whatever. And whenever Meps posts something on the forums, I usually pay attention. Did you change the name of your fireman character? Or did you invite a friend? So here getting our combos a little difficult because the evil Robin keeps on interrupting us. Either him or Poison Ivy. As you see, there's quite a few barrels in this map. Don't be afraid to use them because you're probably going to need them. Ooh, the poison ivy style. Well, let's grab that. And we got a new belt. Oh well, a new utility belt. Well, it's actually the same we already have. But the belt, the actual belt, not bad. Oh. Oh yeah, level 25. And we earned a new... Oh, let's skip that. We earned a new skill point, so... As soon as we manage to skip this... Personally, I love the cinematics we have in game. Usually I'll try to... watch them, but I know a lot of people don't like it too much. So I made a video. If you ever want to see all the, well, maybe not all, but a whole bunch of cinematics, you could watch them if you want to. So let's see. Let's take swoop attack. I'm not really going to use, at least I don't think so. I'm not really going to use abilities in the flight power tree. Actually, what I really want is to be able to take the passive resistance to stun and restraint and all that good stuff. So the next few skill points, the next few skills point, the next few skill points I'll earn, I'll put in those abilities. So let's go back to meet our friend Robin. Actually, let's go to Otisburg first. For those of you who may not know, Otisburg was actually the name of the henchman that Lex Luthor had in the first Superman film. Actually, the henchman was called Otis, and he wanted Luthor to give him part of the West Coast so that he could rename it Otisburg. Which, of course, Luthor had no intention to do. But it was a fun bit. Basically, when you saw like Luthor try to reveal his plan, and then being surprised himself that part of the map that he was trying to recreate or change had this little addendum called Otisburg added to it. It was a fun bit. If you're wondering how I know sometimes that some briefings, investigations, or collections are right there, quite simply, I just hear them. It's quite possible that maybe you don't quite hear everything I hear, but odds are you probably hear the very same thing. But just to be sure.
Batman's taking Ivy to Arkham. He didn't even chew me out. Somehow that's worse. Anyway, thanks for your help.
We've got an emergency. The Green Lantern Corps' power.
Oh, we're going to go fight some evil Yellow Lanterns.
Problem is, so has the Sinestro Corps. They're throwing down in the historic district. Talk to the recruiter in the police station there for more.
I'm always talking with myself. Maybe nobody's watching now, but basically once the live stream is over, the YouTube processes the video and adds it to my video library. So yes, right now there's maybe no one watching. Actually now there's three of you, but sooner, maybe tomorrow, people will watch the stream again. Maybe next week, next month. I'm talking to those people too. Oh, my bro. Protonucleus. Ah, that's a clever one. Not sure why that's surprising though. When I make videos, I pretty much talk to myself anyways. When I make videos that are not live stream, there's no one to talk to. I still talk because eventually people will watch the video.
According to Green Lantern, whatever's disrupting their power rings is here in Metropolis. Until they find it, it's up to us to take out Sinestro's vanguard and help the Corps. Their rings draw on pure willpower. See if you can lend some of yours.
I probably should. For Quantum Troll, actually, it's fun you should mention that. I was planning on making a Quantum Troll video soon. So probably tomorrow, I'll make a video about not just how to play. I'll make a video about the loadout, but also more or less how to play the character. If you look at my multiverse videos, especially those where I'm actually playing group missions, you'll pretty much have get an idea of how to play a Quantum Troll. But keep your eyes peeled. Again, later this week, if all goes well tomorrow, if not later this week, I'll make a quantum video, a quantum controller video. But other than that, there's pretty much a very standard way to play as a controller. Although right now people there's a bit of a disagreement between players. Basically, I still continue to play pretty much the classical way. As a controller, you want to have as much vitalization as possible so that you can give as much power as possible when you give power. But there are people who prefer to have as much power as possible. So they'll instead of adding a vitalization to their controller, they'll add the power, which makes some sort of sense with in the sense that if they have more power, then yeah, they can use their powers a bit more. So they can even use their power dump a bit more. Although that's not really why they want to have more power. But anyway. But personally, I would say go. I prefer to go with Vitalization still at this point. But as a controller, also you have to make choices. You have to read you have to read the battlefield and decide. You have to read the battlefield and make choices based on what happens. You have to make distinctions. Because depending on the group, also you're going to play differently. If you're playing with a group that's very power hungry, well, you're going to do. It's okay. If you're playing with a group that's power hungry, you're going to focus a lot more on giving power. But if you're playing on a group that manages their power really well, then you're going to be able to do a lot more. Either a lot more crowd control or a lot more. The name escapes me right now. A lot more debuffs. So if you're in a good group, you're going to be able to give power, use debuffs, even do crowd control. But if you're in a group that's power hungry, well, then you're gonna have to focus on giving power and pretty much it. So it really depends on what group you're playing with and the type of players you're playing with. Okay, and here also there was a bit of controversy at some point. Basically, people were complaining that evil players from the other faction were preventing them from doing these missions. So let's put that to the test. Let's be bold. Usually I do only one of those at a time, but today I feel we can do more than that.
Maybe recharging will get my ring back. Thanks for your assistance.
I have to admit, I really like that pull move. It's a pretty cool pull move. I probably used it before, but I guess I never realized how good it was. I probably should have been over here, but nah, anyway. This should be the last one. And I need a few more shock troopers. No. There's one. Oh, he disappeared. I'm so sad. Sadly, that's something that happens a little too often. I forgot to mention it. Take the time you need to eat, Dr. Legend. You have all the time in the world. Today is your day. So where's the little shock trooper thingy? Might as well while we wait. Oh, I think that seems to be one. Oh yeah. Hello, Chaz. Trying to get our friend Firestorm to level 30 within one day. We're almost there, so it shouldn't be too big an issue. Unless we hit a wall or something. We're up to level 25. We still have quite a few hours to go. If we really wanted to. Hello, Bad. Ah, there it is. To play music? Depends if it's copyrighted music. But right now it's the music from the game, so... Basically, there's only one time where I actually used copyrighted music. Well, it was supposed to be free music. There's this selection of quote-unquote free music that YouTube offers. If you look in the various options for YouTube, there is some music, some free music that you're supposed to be able to use in your videos if you want to. But some of the music that is labeled free isn't actually free. When you try to use it, your videos get demonetized or something. So I don't play any copyrighted music. Again, I've done it a few, maybe once. So I have maybe like one video that has music that I cannot monetize because the music. But everything else, either I'll use actual free music. Basically, I had to figure out which tracks were really free by trial and error. So there's a few tracks I tried. Turns out the free music wasn't really free. So I stopped using that music. There's only one video, as I mentioned, that I kept with some copyrighted music. But anything else, I'll use actual free music, or I'll use, like in here, music from the game. Like the music you hear is literally the music in the game. I didn't add anything. It's not music playing in the background. It's literally the game music. We're at level 25 right now. And we're actually almost at 26. So things are going good. Yeah, sometimes I see him over there. The last time I was here, didn't pay attention, and the evil Arkillo sadly beat the snot of my poor little character. So let's see. So we're done with this one. Oh yeah, level 26. Only 4 levels to go, and we even got a new skill point. So again, we'll go into the flight abilities, and basically I'm going to start to take those stunt resistance or restraint resistance. Let's go for stun. We'll take them all eventually, so not a big deal which one we take first or not. So let's talk to the poor Alpha Lantern. Your friend is 135. I don't think it's a glitch. They pretty much gave a little boost. Well, not true. They basically with game update 73, a lot of the bounties are much more difficult than they used to be. So I wouldn't be surprised if Arkillo can actually defeat a player that's 135 right now. Oh yeah. The villains? You mean the villain bounties or just villains period? Some villains or NPCs are harder than others. It happens. They're probably high level villains. And if they're wearing top PvE gear or even top PvP gear, they're probably really if they're well geared and high level, yeah, they have to be hard. I remember the days when you had like the top PvP gear, you could easily defeat half a dozen other players if they weren't if they didn't have much in terms of gear. Not quite as true anymore, but still. But also, as a rule of thumb, villains who go to Little Bohemia, they'll go when they have a well-geared character. They don't usually go with a character that doesn't have any gear. Two more. Well, I guess you could say there's lots of those in game. One thing you quickly learn in PvP is that pretty much 99.9 of the percent of the players, they pretty much all react the same. Either they'll gank you or they'll attack enemies that are much weaker than them, or as soon as they face an enemy that could prove to be a challenge, they'll just run away. That's pretty much the basic two things that happens. Either they try to look for players, weaker players or weaker opponents, so that they can defeat them easily, or if they see that there's a chance that the opponent is actually a match for them, they'll run away. It's a bit funny because when I started playing on the PvP server, you would think that the reason to play in PvP is that you don't play against the AI. Like basically the AI or the NPCs are pre-programmed, so they're pretty predictable, and you should be able to anticipate fairly easily what they're going to do, anticipate their actions. But ironically enough, when you go to the PvP server and play against actual live human beings, they are the ones who are pretty much predictable. You pretty much see the same behavior by at least 80, if not 90% of the players. Which is pretty much, again, either they'll look for an enemy that's much weaker than them to make sure that they're going to win, or as soon as they find out that the enemy they thought they could defeat easily is a bit of a challenge, they'll run away. There are a few exceptions to that, but they're just that, the exceptions. So it was a bit strange at first to realize that the human element that was supposed to be the part that would make the players more unpredictable compared to the NPCs was actually pretty predictable. It was a bit of an education, I guess. But playing in the PvP open world used to be a good tool to improve yourself as a player. You had to be sharp, and you had to grow eyes in the back of your head when you were playing on the PvP server, because you never knew when a player would try to jump you from behind while you were fighting other enemies. But also, one thing that players were trying to do is that they were trying to attack lower level players that could not escape. Basically, before you reach level 9, well, you don't have, like in the case of flight, you don't have supersonic speed. So you're pretty much going stuck going this fast. So any players that actually has supersonic speed will be able to catch up to you, and you won't be able to. Well, it's going to be much harder to try to escape those players. Like if you try to run away, it's going to be a lot more difficult. You cannot just go into R3 and L3, I should say, and fly away really, really fast. You actually end up having to either to fight them or you have to outmaneuver them. That was a weird. Oh, there are lots of players that they don't want to lose, no matter what. So they'll do anything they can. They'll gank you if they have to, or they'll run away if they have to. I can't understand. There's nothing wrong with a tactical retreat, but it's sadly very quickly you notice that 90% of the players pretty much have the same behaviors, the same reflexes. No, no. Oh, that was close. Sorry, I got a bit distracted. Aw, we didn't get the Sinistro gloves. I'm so sad. So let's consume the plan, and let's put on the back piece. But sadly, you'll see pretty much the same type of behavior from like 90% of the people, or at least the player base. My supercharge, you mean? Right now I have energize, but I should probably change it for something else. But for now, that will do. Yeah, right now I'm using Energize. Not a big deal. This doesn't really matter which power I use. And I've gotten used to the loadout I'm using right now, so I'll stick to using that at least until level 30. After that, I'll probably tweak. No, I will definitely change it after. But up to level 30, this will do. Works well enough. Within the same loadout, I have some powers that allow me to use the combos, or if somehow I cannot use the combos, I have some powers that I can use without worrying about combos. So this will do the trick just fine, at least for now. PvP reminds me a bit of there's this game that you may have heard of, Magic the Gathering. It's an obscure card game that maybe some of you know about. Basically, early on when they started Magic the Gathering, they had this not really mechanic, but there's they had this system where basically you had this rules that you could play for ante. You could play for a card from the other guy's deck that you could actually win. So what you would do is that before you started playing, you would cut the deck and choose a card at random, and the other guy would do the same with your deck, and whoever won the card, won both cards actually. Well, I got to keep his card and win the other guy's card. And there we go. So, but in Magic the Gathering, not unlike this Universe Online in terms of gear that has different values, you had cards that had different values. You had some rare cards that were worth a lot of money. You had some common cards that were pretty much worthless, like that you could get in a quarter bin.
They'll contact you on site.
Uh, East End or Diamond? East End. So basically, what everyone ended up doing is that they would make themselves a deck with only common cards. The thinking was pretty simple. Yes, winning with common cards would be difficult, much more difficult than trying to win with rare cards. But if you lost, you only lost a common card. If you won, well, you would at the very least win a card that was at least as good, if not better than the card you lost. And that's something that pretty much 99.9% of the players would actually do. That's all the people did. So it's a bit weird to see that there are certain behaviors that pretty much everyone will repeat, sometimes without knowing to or meaning to. Uh, okay, let's start. Let's go check our mail. That's what happens when I try to talk and think about the same time. Oh, I remember this one. So we're up to level 27 right now. It's going a little faster than I expected. I seem to recall a few times when it seemed a little slower than that. So for those wondering,